The senator from West Virginia.
Mr. President, I have the utmost respect for my colleagues, and I think they both make compelling arguments. I just have a hard time. I really have a hard time with this. And I've not had one West Virginian, average working West Virginian who had a good job at one time, that have lost a job, that thinks that this type of approach to trade is good. Not one. And I'm hearing them talking about how much trade we do from our states. I would like to have known what type of trade. Manufactured products, I don't see many manufactured products leaving this country. I see an awful lot of resources, such as oil, been refined into diesel fuel or gasoline. Probably comes from Texas, I would say, that's probably a big part of their trading and those types of things. But how many people actually benefit from that really have a good manufacturing job? That's all I've asked. We talked about TAA. We're all hung up on TAA. You know why we're hung up? Because we all understand we're going to lose more jobs. We've already lost 6 million jobs since NAFTA. We've all lost 6 million jobs across this country. I lost 31,000 manufacturing jobs. Now, I understand NAFTA hasn't been enforced, and they had some rules in there. And, you know, then you take this piece of legislation, TPA, there was more security around this piece of legislation than there was the Iran-Contra nuclear deal. The Iran nuclear deal that we were talking about. My staff could go there. They could take notes. We got briefed. We were able to ask questions. We couldn't even take a note or take a note out. And they're telling me, well, you know, we all depend on trade and the market's shrinking. We're at $18 trillion GDP. Think about this. We in the United States of America have the greatest economy the world's ever seen. 18 trillion. You know, of all these 11 countries we're talking about, the closest one to us, Japan, 4.5. Falls off the Richter scale. But yet we've got to be very secretive because somebody might leave us. Well, let me tell you, I've been a business person all my life. If I wanted to get into a market, I'll assure you I would be able to evaluate my competition, the people I want to do business with. If that was a big person on the block, I had to make more adjustments than they had to make. But yet we're so concerned about the secrecy of this deal that none of us could be able to see it, work it, define it, dissect it, and improve upon it. Now we're just voting, basically give carte blanche, and saying, okay, sure, you're going to get a 60-day review. Can't do anything about it if you don't like it. Can't do a thing about it if you don't like it. I didn't think we were elected to do that. I really didn't. When you start looking at everything that this stands for, and you look at basically, and my father, we were raised in we had a grocery store, my grandfather had a grocery store, my dad had a little furniture store. So I was raised in retail. And you know one thing, my dad always encouraged good competition. He enjoyed he said, Joe, listen, good competition brings out more buyers. More buyers gives us more of a chance to sell our goods. What he never did like and what he thought was unfair, when you had unfair competition, didn't pay their taxes, didn't live by the rules or play by the rules. And if we didn't enforce those, it gave them an unfair competitive advantage. Now, if you believe our past performance and our trade deals make us an expert at enforcing and making sure people play by the rules so that America is treated right, then you probably would have voted for this. I don't. And I can only judge off our past performance where we are today. When's the last time you've seen goods that you use every day when you go shop for whatever type of good, household goods, clothing goods, things of this sort. Furniture, think about that. The greatest furniture markets in the world were in the United States. We make very little furniture in this country today. They still want our wood products, so you know what? Yeah, we ship logs out of West Virginia around the world so people can make the furniture that they want to send back to America. So I guess you say, oh yeah, that's good trade. The only reason they're buying our logs is they don't have the quality logs we have. They don't have the quality hardwood forests. We send our coal, the best coal in the world. The best metallurgical coal that makes coking, that makes the steel. The best in the world comes out of West Virginia. Sure, they're going to buy it because they don't have it. They're going to make their products and send them back to us and come into these markets subsidized. Sooner or later, we got to do something for America. You got to rebuild this country. And you don't build the wealth of a country based on basically moving paper back and forth. Moving paper back and forth, and there's some people that the wealth that they accrue from this, I'm sure that they're very satisfied and happy with that. And we see the income inequality over the last 20 years. We've never seen this big of a spread. Never. And you see the flat line of workers all over America. just as flatline as can be. I don't know how we can look them in the eye and say we've done the best, because now we've opened up 11 new countries. Vietnam, 58 cents an hour is what they're going to pay their workers. And we said, whoa, NAFTA is going to be basically bringing the whole North American trade up to par. 22 years later, I understand that Mexico's minimum wage is still under $1 an hour, around 80 cents. Now, if you think a person that makes 58 cents an hour, or 80 cents an hour, or $1.50 an hour, or 7 of 11 countries make less than $2, that those people will have disposable income to buy the products that we would like to sell so we can expand our economy and our jobs, I'm sorry, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. Doesn't make any sense to me at all how we expect a person that can barely survive, that they're going to have disposable income to buy products that we in the United States of America wish to sell to, and really to lift up our manufacturing base. But I guess that's why we have TPA that we're arguing about, because we know we've given that up. We just about wrote that off 22 years ago, so I guess we're going to write the rest of it off now. Technology's great. I'm all for innovation, creation, technology. I'm for every bit of that. But sooner or later, you've got to make something. You've got to build something. You've got to reinvest. And there has to be people with their hands making these products, being able to support their family, have a benefit package that gives them a decent life. Growing up, when I was growing up in little Farmington, West Virginia, we had manufacturing, mining. We had people that could go to work and work hard, make a good living, take their family on vacation, pay their bills. And we've let all of that slip away from us. I'm not saying they'll be the jobs of the past, but we could have the jobs of the future still manufacturing. So I'm not willing to give up on this, Mr. President. You know, you don't find me up here chastising my colleagues on the Republican side or my colleagues on the Democrat side. I think we're all here for the right reason. Sometimes we get a little bit off track. And I think this is one time we've gotten off track, something that would really help the United States of America, working families all over this country, we've kind of forgotten about. And I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about going back home to my beautiful state of West Virginia and telling the people, I'm sorry, we're going to have a harder time competing with some of these countries because there's just no way. What we've done, we've opened up our borders. We've let international trade, international manufacturing base go wherever they can get the best deal. And I guarantee you, in a developing country, they're not going to be as tough as we are on human rights, on environmental quality that they should be aspiring to. They're not going to be tough on those things. They're trying to build an economy. They're trying to build basically a nation, bring it up. And they're going to be a little bit laxed on these things. And that's unfair competition, which my dad always warned me against. Now, when we talk about European trade, I'm not worried about European trade because they're basically on the same level playing field that we are. But when you're trying to build a country up, should you sacrifice and tear your country down? Should you give away everything that we've worked hard for and built? Because I want to help these countries. I have not a bit of problem helping the countries. I'm not an isolationist. But I basically would have put something in there that would have protected our manufacturing base. I would have put a thing that when we fell below certain jobs in manufacturing, that stopped. You don't give it all away because it's hard to regain that and recapture it back. I'm sure Wall Street's very happy today. I have a lot of friends that work on Wall Street, and there's a lot of good people that work on Wall Street, but there's a lot of people basically just are driven by the almighty dollar. It's not driven by Main Street. They're not worried about West Virginia. They're not worried about my little town of Farmington or any part of my state. And they're going to be very happy. They're not worried about 99% of the people that are still on Main Street trying to survive. You know, we talked about Export-Import Bank. They said, trust us, though, we're going to get a vote on Export-Import Bank. Maybe we will sometime. I would hope that comes to fruition. But that helped an awful lot of small businesses. We haven't gotten that vote yet. So you would have thought that would have been a priority to get a vote on that. It's done an awful lot and gets us in the market so we can compete on a more level playing field. That hasn't happened. But here we go again. We're going to have some votes tomorrow. And these votes tomorrow are going to be based on the TAA because the House couldn't pass TPA fast track with TAA in it. It's basically what we're dealing with. So they think we can do a back door. What makes you think TAA would be acceptable any way, shape, or form in the House? What makes you think now, since we've carved this out, but we've promised to vote over here on TAA, which we know we're going to need, is going to make it more acceptable on the House side when they made them take TAA out and couldn't pass TAA in the TPA bill? Doesn't make any sense to me. So I think it's a sad day today. I really do, and I'm concerned. I'm concerned about our country. I'm concerned about my hardworking people in West Virginia, and I know you are in all the other states that we have. These are good people. They deserve an opportunity. They deserve fair trade. They really deserve a fair trading country. People that will trade honestly with us, that have a quality or a standard that they have to live up to in order to get into our markets. And I don't think that we should sacrifice our markets basically just to build them up. I think we should assist them. But they're going to have to find their own markets to the point to where we don't sacrifice. So I think that this could be a troubling thing. I'm hoping it's not, but it could be. I have concerns. And I've said this: if I can't explain it back home, I can't vote for it. And this is one, Mr. President, I could not explain back home. I could not make the people feel comfortable that this is really going to improve the quality of life and opportunities for them and their families. I couldn't do it because I don't see it. I don't believe in it. And I said I wouldn't vote for it, and I didn't. So with that, Mr. President, I see the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.